But your question earlier was about, it's a really good one, because I was really tripped up on that at first as well, because the safe and social state can look a lot like the shutdown state in a lot of ways, because they're both, shutdown is, it is quiet. And so I'm thinking about kids in the school district, and the kids in the shutdown state that just sit in their desks quietly, they don't cause any problems. So for the teacher, they don't really realize that there's something else going on. The kids that are in their flight fight energy, they cause problems, quote unquote problems, but it's problems for others or problems for the teacher. The kids in their shutdown state aren't exactly causing problems for others, and not really for the teacher either. So they kind of fly under the radar. They really cause more problems for themselves because they don't do the work and they don't try very hard, or maybe they don't have the energy to at all. So it's not exactly a blame thing, but they kind of fly under the radar because from the teacher's perspective, it kind of looks like the other students that are in their safe and social state who are doing the work but also not causing problems. So it looks like, I mean, just visually, kind of there's some similarities there. So yeah, the shutdown state and safety state in some ways can look similar, but the experience of them is much different. The shutdown state, like we said before, is very empty and slow. From the state of safety, we can do that, but it's the stillness. It's called stillness, where we combine the shutdown state with the safety state. Wow, I'm going blank here. So from the safety state, we can utilize the shutdown pathways. So we're using them both at the same time. That's called a mixed state, and that's called stillness. So we can be still while in our shutdown, while in our safety state. Killing me here. So we can be still in our safety state, okay, which looks like kind of similar to shutdown, but shutdown is this full-on, like, collapsed. Not exactly. I don't want to use the word stillness, because stillness, in polyvagal terms, is a mixed state of the shutdown and safety state. So in a shutdown state, we're not moving. In that way, we're still, but it's not stillness in the way that we're using the word in the polyvagal terms. And it's really more of this collapsed, folded in kind of thing versus the safety state, when combined with shutdown in stillness. That is, we can sit up straight and close our eyes and just kind of, look inward. And that's that kind of stillness. That's different than that collapsed and folded in, drained kind of energy or lack of energy. So it's different, but also from the safety state, we can combine it with the flight fight energy, and that is the play mixed state. So from the safety pathways, the ventral vagal safe and social pathways, it's not, those can kind of more or less be activated on their own, and we can feel connection and joy and happiness and whatnot. But really, usually those pathways are connected with one of the other two states, resulting in some form of mixed state. And we have the stillness mixed state or the play mixed state. And from shutdown, we can't do the mixed state thing. From safe and social, we can combine it with the stuff down the ladder to keep that stuff in check. But we can also combine it with that to do these other things like stillness, which is necessary for going to the bathroom, or for sitting in class, or being intimate with somebody, or meditation or yoga. Like, all these things are necessary. Stillness is necessary, and play is necessary to build social connections with people. Also to work. Work can be playful for some. Doing hobbies. Play is, super important for building your own self-regulation. So yeah, the safe and social state, the experience of it is a lot different than the shutdown state, especially when you combine it with the other two states. Like, that's where to me those pathways are really useful, is combining it with the other two states. But yeah, that state on its own, I don't know how often we exist in that state by itself. I don't know. I know personally I don't really exist in that state very often all by itself, as far as I can tell. But there are moments where I have true feelings of, like, awe or joy or like deep connection. To me, that's more in that more of a stronger hold up at the top of the ladder, in the state of safety and social connection. That's a good analogy. Pill bug for the collapsed. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, I think there's people that don't get to the top of the ladder ever, or yet, in all capital letters, YET, yet. I think it's true. I think there are some people that just don't access it. I know it's true. The kids I work with, the adults that I work with, the people I work with in therapy. I mean, they might not spend a lot of time there, and their access to it is there, but not strong enough yet. So I think that we all have more or less. When I say all, I'm being very general, but we all have some level of access, because if we didn't have access to our safe and social pathways, we would really exist in like a pure flight fight energy or a pure shutdown energy at all times. And I'm not sure what that looks like. I mean, we all feel anxious. So when we have anxiety or extreme anxiety, that is more flight energy and a lot less safety pathway activation, right? So we all get there on some level, but as long as we have enough of the safety stuff active, we can notice that, and like we're still present. Even if we feel really anxious, we can still get through the day at work, or interact with somebody. So it's like, people with that come to therapy with severe anxiety and whatnot, they're still accessing it a little bit. And I can't give numbers. I don't know ratios. I don't know percentages and whatnot. But in my mind, that's how I think of it. So it's still active a little bit. Otherwise, that person wouldn't be realizing there's a problem and coming out, to therapy and saying, "Hey, I need help," or they wouldn't reach out to a loved one and say, "I need some support. Something's not right here." Like those pathways are active enough to where their critical thinking, is still present. You know what I mean? So I think that there is some level of ventral activation within each of us, more or less, yeah. But some of us probably spend very little time there in the top of the ladder by itself, and probably have very little of a vagal break. So the top of their ladder pathways, the safe and social state ventral vagal pathways, are not very strengthened. That's the vagal break, is the influence of those pathways on the heart to keep it at a calmer pace. So I think people definitely have that problem where their pathways are just not strong enough, and so they exist in more of a defensive energy more often than not.